us at bay. But what if we can't? Why can some people assume responsibilities in trying circumstances? Why are others crushed by them? The narrative that emerged was not uplifting in a conventional sense, though it included moving chronicles of survival and renewal, nor was it condemnatory, though it contained an act of horrible violence. But in the stories of these mothers, fathers, and children, I encountered uncommon strains of human resilience and was gratified, even as I prayed never to be tested. Not like that. Part 1. In Dreams Begins Responsibility. From Responsibilities, W.B. Yeats. Prologue. In the summer of 1977, baseball was the only thing that mattered to Bobby Rowe and Jeffrey Mond. When they weren't hitting balls and playing catch, they were listening to games on the radio or rehashing old plays, both theirs and the Yankees, or speculating about whether the Yankees would actually win the World Series. They weren't being boyishly optimistic. For the first time in 15 years, a lifetime for Bobby and Jeffrey, who were teenagers, there was general agreement that a championship seemed entirely possible. Bobby and Jeffrey lived in Mill Basin. This was merely a fact of life for them, but an accomplishment for their parents, who sounded like real estate brokers when they described this prosperous enclave in Brooklyn as the best of both worlds, with suburban amenities and urban convenience. The fathers of Mill Basin were lawyers, accountants, dentists, and shopkeepers. The mothers were homemakers, though some of them did work outside the house, often alongside their husbands in dry cleaning stores and other family-owned businesses. The population was mainly white and ethnic, Italian, Irish, Jewish, but the more liberal residents liked to mention the lovely black family who had moved into the neighborhood, noting with relief that both the husband and wife were doctors. When Jeffrey heard a game on the radio, he'd call Bobby to report the score, and Bobby would do the same for him, even if they were both listening to the same game. When they played catch or shagged flies, they'd pretend to be Yankees stars, Catfish Hunter or Ron Guidry or Reggie Jackson. The boys played ball together a lot, even though Bobby, who was 14, was exactly 4 years and 4 days younger than Jeffrey. Jeffrey's mother nagged him about hanging around a younger kid so much, but he liked being with Bobby. Jeffrey was the youngest of 3 children, and Bobby was the oldest of 3. It was a novelty to play a different role. Jeffrey could be the big brother, and Bobby could be the little one. Besides, they had the same interests. They liked to sail and to climb trees, and more than anything, they liked baseball. Bobby was the gutsiest kid Jeffrey knew. When he had to use crutches for a couple of years because something was wrong with his hip, he'd leave them lying on the ground to climb the giant tree by his house, and then would expertly deal with his mother when she freaked out about it. Jeffrey's affection for Bobby couldn't be disentangled from his warm feelings toward the entire Rowe family. That included Bobby's younger brother Christopher, who could be a pain in the neck, and Jenna, his little sister, the youngest. One day, when Jeffrey's bicycle tire blew out far from home and he couldn't reach his own mother, he immediately called Mary Rowe to pick him up. She was the best lady on their street as far as he was concerned, and Bob, Robert Sr., was the best, period. He had a way of making a summer night in Brooklyn feel like you were at sleepaway camp in the country. Bob taught the neighborhood kids how to build campfires in the backyard and which constellation was which, and sometimes he played the ukulele and sang. None of the other fathers jumped into the Sapolsky's swimming pool with the kids, splashing and yelling noisily when they played a game called Whale. Jeffrey certainly couldn't imagine Murray Sapolsky doing that. Mr. Sapolsky didn't play. He yelled. He was always afraid someone was going to drown in his pool. Jeffrey never saw Bob lose his temper. Jeffrey always felt that when he had children, he'd want to raise them the way Bob raised his. He learned so much from Bob. Much as Jeffrey had a good time with Bobby, he also felt as though he were returning a favor.